How's it going, guys? It's Cass. In my last video, you saw a Demon Hunter on PTR doing 8 I-beams in 2 minutes. I looked back on it and realized that I actually had 3 Furious Gazes slotted in, so that was giving me 3 times the amount that we're going to have in Shadowlands. So what I've decided to do today is retest it with only 1 Furious Gaze in, and then with the ability that makes it so whenever you use Metamorphosis, you reset I-beam. So basically, and I took out like the majority of anything that we won't have in Shadowlands. I also want to point out that my gear is complete trash. I'm like 15 item levels below heroic gear right now, and the majority of my gear is like heroic gear from the tier before. So what I'm showing here, a geared Demon Hunter is going to be way better, like way better. But besides that, I also wanted to talk a little bit more in depth on why I think this build is actually going to be pretty good. When looking at the conduits, we see that there's a few different things in here that are pretty nice. There's this conduit down here, Serrated Glaive. It's pretty interesting to, from just the outside looking in. You get 8% increased damage from I-beam after you throw Glaive. It's one of those things where it seems all right. It goes up to 15 when you get max rank, which sounds pretty good. But then there's also Demon's Touch, which Demon's Bite is something that you're already going to be pressing consistently. Unfortunately, there's not a cooldown window or anything that it shows in here, so it may just be the next ability that you press. Does 5% more damage up to 10. But if this is like a window where it's a timed window, then this could actually be even better than it is. But I think this is a great option also. So I just wanted to look into these real quick just to show some synergies with the I-beam build. Obviously, everyone uses obviously you're going to be using Demon's Bite. It's much better generator because you don't have randomness with just 60% of the time getting Fury on your auto attacks. Then also this one's kind of interesting, but anytime that you're pressing a GCD that you wouldn't normally be pressing in order to get a damage amp, I don't think it's that great. But if this debuff stays up for a while, then maybe it's not too bad. Or if it stacks, it's insane, but it probably won't stack. But then I also wanted to look at the legendaries. So the Demon Hunter legendaries are basically, when you look at every other class, they're pretty bad. Like, honestly, I probably will not be using a single Havoc Demon Hunter legendary. I'm only going to be using the general legendaries. And that's wild to think. Just look at the Frost Mage specific legendaries, and then you'll know why this is so crazy. I'm gonna make a video like running through my opinions on some of these, doing some of the math on Chaos Theory and some of the math on Inner Demon, just to prove why they're shitty. So yeah, that'll be coming soon, hopefully, depending on how busy I get this week. But anyway, Sign of the Ildari is, in my opinion, the best legendary that we have. This is a legendary that has no randomness, so that's already better than 90% of the ones that we have. Basically what it does is it makes it so when you cast I-beam, a Vengeance Demon Hunter pops out and casts Fell Devastation in the same area that your I-beam's going. So basically what that means is it's the equivalent of like 2 I-beams on top of each other. So if we're pressing 8 I-beams in 2 minutes, that's really like pressing 16, which, and that's like obviously just like flat damage, not including the time that you're like, it's not amping anything else except the Fell Devastation damage added on top, which in some testing that I've seen other players using this Fell Bombardment one, a lot of the damage is very similar between these 2 items, And in the cases that I saw, they were only hitting like 2 targets with this versus hitting the max targets with this, and the damage was very similar. So that's something to think about. I honestly think that Demon Hunter in general is going to be pretty good with this legendary. Also, we have to talk about this legendary. This legendary, a lot of people think is bad. I'm not so sure about that. I think this legendary with this legendary also is pretty good. So Dark Glare Medallion makes it so I-Beam has a 20% chance to not incur its cooldown. So if we're doing 8 in 2 minutes, there's a pretty high chance that one of those I mean, it's statistically likely that one of those gets reset. So now we're doing 9. That's 6 more seconds in meta that we wouldn't have had before, and that's also 15 more 12 more seconds of 15% haste. And then finally, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to close with the updated video of what it looks like with only one Furious Gaze trait and virtually none of the BFA amplifiers. So here's this video at the end. If you liked the video, leave a like. If you didn't like the video, F5, refresh, try it again.